Hello, I'm Lizzie Saka, and today I'd like to show you how to prepare a mushroom. I don't know what these mushrooms are called in English, but in Malawi, in the part where I come from, it's called nderema, and nderema has a classic sort of like a head that has a different color from the rest of the mushroom. My grandmother never liked, so it has a thin skin. My grandmother never liked to keep this whole thing. She would say that it has a particular flavor, it has a particular smell that if you're not used to, you not like. And she said that the smell is attributed to the skin that is around the mushroom. So she would advise us to always peel the skin off. So this is how we do it. You just do that and you take the skin off. However, today I'm not feeling really that. Okay, so the other thing that the skin does is it causes the mushroom to be really slippery when you cook it. So which is unlike when you remove the skin. But today I really want to keep the skin, because of the flavor. I'm actually craving that particular flavor today. So I don't want to remove the skin from the rest of the mushroom. So I'm only going to remove this one because I was only going to demonstrate to you that this is what will cause the slipperiness of the mushroom, right? And then once we remove the skin, then I can take off that and cut it in small pieces like that. So this is nderema, and it is very common around this time, around January, February. Yeah. So, and the stalk, in those days, we never used to eat the stalk, but I know that it is also edible. So today I'm going to put it in. It's almost, yeah, so that's the stalk. Yeah, so if you love these kinds of mushrooms, let's go make it. So as I said, I'm not going to remove the top. I'm simply going to do that. You can also cut with a knife if you're feeling fancy, but here I'm just using my hands to just break it up and make sure it's in small parts. Now, the other thing about mushrooms is that sometimes they grow in sandy places. So because they grow in sandy places, you find that the stalks have sand. So you need to use a knife to remove the sand around the stalks. Yeah. So this is nderema, and I'll see you when I start cooking. So here I have a stalk. As I was saying, sometimes they have sand, sometimes they look dirty, and how we clean that is just by taking the knife and scraping the sides off like that. See? In fact, in those days, my grandmother and her friends used to say that you do not need to wash mushrooms, because then they become hard and all those kinds of things. So now that this is cleaned, then I'm just going to take a knife there and make small pieces, which I'm putting in the other mushrooms. So the stalk of this particular mushroom is very delicate. It sort of has like a pith at the center. So most of the times it just breaks. I guess that's why maybe those grandmothers didn't want to eat it in those times. Yeah, so that's what you do to all the stalks. You remove, you scrape the outer parts like that. See, now it's squeaky clean. And then I'm going to cut off that portion which seems to be dirty and do the, yeah. So if you didn't know how to do that, that's how we do it. Yeah. Now that we've finished cutting that up, we are going to wash the mushroom. We need to wash it well. Yeah. And once we've washed it, The good thing is that now once we wash it, we are going to take it to the pot to cook it. Yeah, I'm just going to take that to the yeah. So you need to put your pot on the fire and let it dry. And we're taking the mushrooms from the water straight and there. What we are doing is we are not going to add in any water at all. The mushroom is going to cook in its own water. This water that we are using for cleaning is enough is enough to cook the mushroom. And this mushroom also cooks easily. It's a soft mushroom, doesn't take too long on the fire. It doesn't take too long to cook. So I'm just making sure that I get every mushroom in. So now we'll just season with sea salt and cover the pot. I'm just going to let that cook until it almost shrinks. It'll shrink to almost half of its size when I was putting in. Then we are going to go into the next steps. While the mushrooms are cooking, I'm just going to prepare my sauce, the one that I'll need. I'm just going to roughly chop the onion because I'm going to put this in a blender. Okay, so I'm going to put this in here. That's where I'm putting it. Instead of me doing the grinding on with my hands, I'm just going to use the blender. Yeah, so I'll chop the onions, blend my sauce, and then cook it. Now that I'm done chopping, I'll simply put my tomatoes in there. This is where I also put in the onions earlier. I'll just chop them together to save my time. The sauce, nice and easy. Now on what was happening, we need to check. So here's my mushroom. I'm just going to taste to see if it's done. Yeah, so I'm just going to taste one of that to see if it is done. Yeah. This is done. Take it off so that I can make my sauce from there. So now we're just going to take the tomatoes, the sauce that we made into the pan to make a sauce for the mushrooms. Just get all that in. Yeah, so I'm just going to taste one of that to see if it is done. Yeah. This is done. Take it off so that I can make my sauce from there. So now we're just going to take the tomatoes, the sauce that we made into the pan to make a sauce for the mushrooms. Just get all that in. Leave no one behind. Good. So now I'm just going to season my sauce with these Knorrox cubes. This is chicken flavor. This is how it looks inside. Because I don't have Royco, so as a thickener, so I'm just putting that in. You should be aware that these cubes have a lot of salt in them, so be sure that you are not over seasoning by putting in a lot of salt in your food. So I'm going to just put 2 of those there, stir them in until they are well mixed in. And once that is done, then our sauce is ready to be added into the mushroom. Yep. I'm going to take the sauce I've been making and putting it to there. Oh, that looks good already. Look at that. Oh my God, just like my grandmother liked it with lots of tomatoes. However, in the village that time, the tomatoes were scarce. In January, the tomatoes are scarce and are expensive. So this is a luxury I can afford because these tomatoes are from my backyard and I can put as many as I want. And it looks good. I'm just going to make sure that all the goodness that's left in this pan is put back into the pot. So we'll let this simmer. Yeah. Oh, the flavor that is coming out of that pot. Oh, I can't wait to have my simmer. So you can eat this with simmer, you can eat this with rice and spaghetti, I guess. Whatever that you would like to eat it with, you can eat it with. We'll let it simmer there and see you. Yeah. That's done. Yeah. And the black pepper adds another dimension of flavor. My grandmother never used to do that. Oh.